Good evening, and welcome to the UWA Open Campus Culture Steward Committee launch. I'm your co-host, Cherise Glasgow, and this is my co-host, Renisha Gentle. She is also the Belize Student Guild Chapter Chair.
Yes, thank you, Cherise. This evening, as we present the culture stewards to the OC community, you will hear from speakers including our principal, deputy principal, and staff of the Open Campus, president of the Guild of Students, executive director of the Institutional Advancement Division, and executive leadership coach. Now, this indeed is a jam-packed series of speakers. We ask you to sit back and enjoy this momentous occasion.
Thanks, Renisha. Yes, indeed. This is the first of its kind in the UWA Open Campus history. But without further ado, let me introduce our Pro Vice Chancellor and Principal, Dr. Luz Longsworth, who will come with opening remarks. Dr. Longsworth?
Yes, thank you so much, Cherise, and good evening to all who are joining us for this momentous and historic launch of our Culture Steward Committee and indeed of our Culture Steward program in the Open Campus. I wish to greet, of course, our deputy principal, who is the instigator, I would say, of this movement. I wish to greet Ms. Marguerite O'Rain, executive leadership coach, who has been an integral part of these discussions, and all of our executive members of the Open Campus team, and very specially Mrs. Elizabeth Buchanan Hind of the IED, all colleagues from the Open Campus. Good evening again. It was Peter Drucker who coined the term that is really well known now, that says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And in fact, if you've done more reading on this, it says, culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And what does that really mean for us here at the University of the West Indies and in particular the Open Campus? It means that hundreds and hundreds of businesses have wonderful, and organizations have wonderful ideas. They have good managers, they have funds, they have products that people want, but somehow they fail. And management experts have indicated that one reason for an organization's failure is really, and a major one, is not having the right culture in place to enable what is the most important thing in any organization, and that is change. The Open Campus leadership team from very early focused a lot on identifying what was the culture that we wanted for the University of the West Indies Open Campus. What did we want to be? Who did we want to be? What kind of campus did we want to be? And we took some time and with a lot of help from Ms. O'Rain to really try to define what that culture should be. And we came up with a concept of our culture as being agile, innovative, respectful, enabling of the success of our students and our staff, also high performing and accountable. But we recognize, of course, that doesn't happen overnight. And in fact, it hasn't happened overnight, but we have seen tremendous growth in our people, because culture is all about the people, the human network within the organization that enables the changes that we need in order to succeed. And so when our university promulgated the AAA strategic plan, which spoke to access, alignment, and agility, we were very pleased that the Open Campus was already 3/4 there. And so we wanted to make sure that this was an embedded element of the campus. And we're so happy that our deputy principal, Dr. Severin, has come up with this idea of the culture steward and the culture steward committee. So I celebrate him on this initiative. And I say thanks to all of you who have volunteered so enthusiastically to be a part of that committee. I can tell you that this is going to be some very important work as the Open Campus continues to embrace change, because as another management expert says, organizations that do not change die. And one of the things we know is that the Open Campus will never die because we will have a culture that embraces continuous change and improvement. And this new initiative is one way that will ensure that all the campus, all our students, all our alumni, and our other stakeholders are a part of this excellent culture that we are developing. I thank you all again, and I look forward to an exciting evening, hearing more about the program, and of course, celebrating this bold new step that is being led by our Deputy Principal, Dr. Severin, as we move the Open Campus into yet another phase of excellence. Thank you so much, all of you, for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Principal. And I definitely need to second you when you said that organizations that do not change will die, right? Now, we will be hearing from the Deputy Principal of the UWI Open Campus and lead culture steward, Dr. Francis O. Severin, who will give an overview of the Culture Stewards Initiative. Dr. Severin?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Renisha, and thanks very much, Cherise, our two gracious hosts tonight. And Principal, I thank you for the kind words that you have delivered tonight, and of course, your pledge of support. Tonight is indeed a very special night for myself, yes, but also for the Open Campus. This is groundbreaking, and I am not being histrionic. This really is a novelty for the University of the West Indies, not only the Open Campus. And I do want to thank every one of you for being here tonight to celebrate the Culture Steward Initiative. And in fact, I am very heartened by the fact that my coach is here, Margaret Orain. And yes, colleagues, believe it or not, leaders need coaches. And that is because we recognize, and that is true leadership, that we cannot do it on our own. It is heartening to have good friends who I've known for over 2 decades, like Elizabeth Buchanan Hind with us. Elizabeth is the executive director of the IAD, and I warmly welcome her. So, colleagues, in terms of our Culture Steward Initiative, and you heard the principal speak about Peter Drucker's own thoughts and ruminations on culture, that culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and perhaps dessert as well. And I think the definition here of culture, organizational culture, underscores the point very well. Armstrong says, for instance, that organizational culture is the collective behavior of people who make up an organization. And that includes values, visions, norms, working language, systems, beliefs, and habits. And of course, colleagues, those elements tell you that culture is all embracing. Culture envelops everything. Culture can be found in the nooks and crannies of the organization. There is a mainstream culture, there is a subculture. When we can bring those things together, it means that we can have an organization that is working, if that culture, of course, is positive. An ethical, accountable, team-oriented, and high-performance mindset are fundamental elements of any organization's culture, we are told, eventually becoming integrated into the company's operations and processes. What we aim to do, colleagues, as part of the Culture Steward Committee, is to ensure that the positive elements of that culture, guided by our core values, which we'll see in a while, become prominent in terms of how we do business every day. Business with our students, business with our external stakeholders, business, importantly, with our internal stakeholders, how we interact with each other. It has to become, in a word, second nature. The business becomes known for its productivity, and high performance becomes second nature for its employees. And indeed, if your culture does not coincide with what you want to do and what you want to do optimally, then your best laid plans, your best strategies will come to naught. And colleagues, these are the core values which the Open Campus ascribes to and which guide us as part of the overarching UWI core values: integrity, excellence, gender justice, and student-centeredness, diversity as well, all very important. And the extent to which these values, colleagues, permeate every employee's and student's daily behaviors: student-staff relationships, staff-staff relationships, student-student relationships and interactions. Sometimes these are not always reflective of the tenets that we hold dear. And we're saying that the Culture Steward Committee is empowered to ensure that these core values of our culture become very important. So what is this Culture Stewards Committee all about? It is a team for advocating and championing the open campus culture in alignment with those core values I've mentioned above. We are very pleased and happy to say to you that we have, as of now, 22 employees or stewards from various open campus divisions and departments. So this is not one-sided, it is not top-heavy, and in fact, I was especially concerned with having staff at all levels. And in fact, this particular launching this evening tells me that when you empower staff, when you recognize that you cannot do it alone, and you place the tools within their hands, but also the trust and the vote of confidence, they can take you to places. And this launching tonight is, to me, quite representative of what can happen when we empower our staff. And happily, we have one representative, one of our hosts of the Guild of Students. And we have said to the Guild of Students that, look, you can organize it in whichever way you want. So while Ms. Gentle is the representative on the committee, the Guild itself will have its framework, which feeds into what Ms. Gentle does on the committee. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the scope of responsibilities. These are very broad, but very specific in certain senses. They must be au fait or familiar with the concept paper which the deputy principal, myself, has written, and which formed the foundation of the Culture Stewards rule and committee. And of course, by virtue of that fact, they must also be conversant with the terms of reference. And as I say that, I want to really pay tribute to Mr. Rand Bayer, who, having read the concept paper, managed to projectize this for us. He's the deputy director of the Open Campus Countrysides, and I do want to extend my thanks and gratitude to him. Keep abreast of matters in their respective divisions and departments and countries, with a view to having full knowledge and understanding of what may both positively and negatively impact us. So what the issues are, they must be able to identify, pinpoint, and cite them, but they must also be able to identify what are these issues, or what are the activities in each department, even the successes, the accomplishments, which have a positive impact on our culture and which may have an unintended negative consequences. This, of course, will live in the astute hands of our Culture Steward Committee. Serve as culture ambassadors and advocates in their respective divisions and departments and countries, that is clear. Isolate the priority areas. And we have begun to do these things. What are the areas that need our attention and our focus and our concentration within the open campus? And I'll tell you, colleagues, as we reflected on the financial matters, I've been wondering, culture steward, will anyone say this is not the time for it? And I recognize, and in fact, our principal has again reaffirmed, and I am more fully convinced that if ever there was a time for the Culture Steward Committee, it is now, as we attempt to fight our challenges and our difficulties. And I reflect on the reflections and the ruminations of Peter Drucker. Make practical recommendations and suggestions to the Deputy Principal as matters arise concerning the objectives, the spirit, and the operationalization of the Culture Steward rule. We also, as a committee, must encourage fellow staff and students to embrace the core values of the university. And this includes discouraging actions that are inimical to our core values, discouraging inaction, because failing to act in a positive way has its negative repercussions if you can work that out yourself. And of course, behaviors that run contrary to our core values, we need to discourage them. We have to be cultural ambassadors of the office of the Deputy Principal in communicating, operationalizing, and diffusing the culture of the campus. I think the Jamaicans would say we have to represent, and that is what we're supposed to do. And I'm using the big word ambassadors, but I don't mean it in a stiff, formal sense, but in everything that you do in your daily conduct of your affairs as open campus staff and as students as well. Constantly attempt to identify factors that will improve or enhance the effectiveness of the role of the culture steward. So we will continue to reinvent ourselves, to see what we're doing, to ensure that we're doing things, in a way that promotes what we intend to do. Performing any other tasks that would facilitate and advance the strengthening of the open campus culture, identifying appropriate training and development programs to fill the gaps in skills, in skill sets, through training, that either special training or through the suite of training efforts that are mounted by our HR department. In terms of our scope of authority, we will be examining several aspects, as I hinted, of the campus's operations, access any information once that is not considered to be confidential, that can help us. So that's simply using data and the metrics in order to inform our priorities and our decision-making. Engage members of staff at all levels and students of the campus as the need arises. I will not detain us too much with the activities. You'll be hearing a lot more about these activities, but these are a sample of our intentions, what we hope we can perhaps mount as we try to make the Culture Steward committee activities real and impactful to you, and we will participate in breaking down the silos in that particular forum, competitions, sit and chat sessions where we work out a problem, not necessarily in a formal setting, but an informal type of setting. And again, do the kinds of things that one expects by the academy. Ladies and gentlemen, I have really enjoyed working and convening meetings with the Culture Steward. is a different type of meeting. It is amazing how all of these staff come together with great ideas. I cherish it. I want to really pay special tribute to them. I want to thank them for it. It is indeed a wonderful team. The principle started with Peter Drucker, but I want to end with Peter Tosh, one of my favorite artists, I have to tell you. I know many of you, your favorite is Bob Marley, at least those of my age group. But Peter Tosh sang some very conscious songs. And I find his song, Feel No Way, No Bother, Feel No Way, really underscores and reiterates the importance of what you sow is what you reap. And it is the same thing. You can have your strategy, but if you do not behave in a way, if you do not do the things that can achieve that strategy, then this strategy will come to naught. And so you have to actively do things. And that's why I say a culture does not descend upon us and envelop us. We do active things to change that culture, to set the stage and to determine that culture that we want. And two parts of that song in particular, to me, make the point. He says, you cannot plant peas and reap rice. You cannot plant cocoa and reap yam. You cannot plant turnip and reap tomato. You cannot plant breadfruit and reap potato. But for me, the part which is the, which really takes home the message in an unequivocal and pellucid way for me is this: cannot be wrong and get right, cannot be kicked and don't fight, cannot drink water and get drunk, cannot drink whiskey and stay sober. When we do what is required of us, then the positive will come. And this, colleagues, I think is the message, is the burden of my argument tonight. And I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank my leadership team, the Open Campus leadership team, for your continued support in all of this. And I want you to know that I treasure, all what you have done for me so far. And I want to thank everyone who is listening. I think my own family, daughter and wife out there listening as well. So it is indeed very special for me. Thank you very much, and over to you, host.
Thank you, Dr. Severin, for giving our viewers that very informative background on the Culture Steward Committee. Colleagues who are watching via YouTube and Facebook, the bios for our speakers would be placed in those chats so you can peruse them at your convenience. Let us now move on to a lady who is no stranger to the UWI community. Ms. Marguerite Orain has over 30 years in strategy consulting and general management and is committed to helping leaders and their teams joyfully bring strategy to life to achieve their desired results. She is known for her insights on leadership, strategy, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. As a multifaceted member of the UWI family in the capacities of an alumna, former lecturer, and strategy facilitator, we welcome Ms. Orain to give us some tips on what we can expect as we maneuver this culture change that we are embarking on. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And it is absolutely wonderful to be here. I am so thrilled. I am so thrilled that I have to share that. And those of you from Jamaica will understand. Me iname aki right now. This is like a dream come true to see the open campus just embracing this journey that certainly with me started at a leadership workshop in Belize in 2017, when the leadership team actually sat down and started to articulate what the desired culture of the open campus what they would like it to be. And now to see this happening is just like, ooh, joy, joy, joy. So I just thought I'd share a few insights and tips about culture because it's an area that I'm very passionate about. It's an area that I've worked a lot in, not just as a consultant and facilitator and coach, but also as an active leader when I was leading organizations. And I've just learned so much and I've come to appreciate how important culture is. So a few insights about culture that I'll share with you. One is that every organization has a culture. Now, the only issue is it the one that you want? And so not many organizations take the step that you have, which is to sit down and say, this is the culture that we want. This is how people are to behave. This is what our values and our norms are going to be. And then to actually take the steps, which leads me to the second one, which is that culture can be changed. People think, oh boy, it's going to take a long time to change the culture. You know, in my experience, I've found it's actually quite simple, not easy to change the culture. And yes, it does take time, but the magic is that it never takes as much time as you think it will. Another insight is that culture really cannot be talked about. It must be demonstrated and lived. You can almost feel the energy of the culture. Anyone who walks into any site of the open campus or any office should be able to just say, wait, this place, yeah, this is the culture. They should be able to feel it. And so this is demonstrated by the leadership at all levels and of course by the culture stewards. So there are three things that I want you to keep in mind as you fully commit to transforming the open campus culture in your role as culture stewards. One is to have each other's backs, to really hold each other accountable lovingly, not criticizing people, not behind their backs, but just lovingly giving feedback, or what I call feed forward, because it's intended to help. Feed forward on what's working or what's not in a very loving way. People need to know, culture stewards, you take ownership and you are there for each other. The second thing is to be patient with yourselves and with your colleagues. You know, this does take time. It's the grind of day-to-day, moment by moment behavioral change. And not everyone is going to be on the same page at the same time. So just be patient. And to be honest, sometimes you yourself are not going to be where you should be. Just be patient. And the final thing is that, you know, when it's worth it, it is so worth it to do this work. Because when the culture comes together, the culture that you have defined, that you're all working towards, things will happen with ease. You'll work together with joy, and you're going to get to a point where every team member will be a culture steward. And that's an amazing day. So I congratulate the Open Campus and the Culture Stewards on this. I wish you massive success and much love and joy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Irene. And you said something that really stood out: feed forward and not feedback. I think I'm going to borrow that from you from time to time. And I do hope you enjoyed your stay in Belize, and it was a very productive discussion in regards to culture change and culture stewardship. Now, moving forward, we will now do our first entertainment piece. Ladies and gentlemen, this lady is a recipient of the Prime Minister's Medal of Appreciation for Service to Education, and also a renowned dramatist in her home country of Jamaica. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Miss Jean Brown.
Granny, Grandma, me get through. Figure here. Foreign, Cherise, how many times must I tell you that I don't want anything foreign? Come here. Little girl, you know, hear me tell you that it's COVID time. And I don't want anybody going or coming from foreign in my place. You don't seem to see how COVID can mash up foreign. And you gone behind my back. Figure arrange to go foreign. I don't know what is wrong with uno young people today. Granny, it's not foreign we get you to go. It's the University of the West Indies open campus. Lord have mercy for me. What is this, Father God? Papa Jesus, take the keys and give me the pillar. Cherise, why you have to go and gone to university in a open pasture? The rain come wet you and sun come burn you. Lord have mercy. Now the neighbors going to think say you're mad. M-A-D. Mad. Lord have mercy. Me don't know where you ever hear say people are going to university and gone out in a open pastures. Let me tell you something. Your father went to UA and him never ever tell me say him under tree or out in a pasture doing training. It look like you want him to have a heart attack him when him go here so you gone to open campus. But grandma, it's the same UE that operate the open campus. We're doing the same courses like what daddy did when he was there and wholly more. The difference is just that we're doing our classes online. Like when I was doing online classes when COVID-19 hit Jamaica. Oh, so why them never call it online university? Our university of the virtual space. Well, maybe because they've been doing this long before the pandemic. They became official in 2008, you know. And before that, they were doing similar things. Okay. So that means then that you will have to know about the principles of UE if it is just like UE. Your father used to tell me about them principles all the time. Principles? Yes, man. Them call them core values. Oh, I don't really have to know those. We don't really have to know them. I just don't see them as necessary, Grandma. I just plan to do my work, pass my exams, and get my degree. Not over me dead body. As a matter of fact, not over my live body. You will have to find out about them core values and make sure that them is guiding your life every day. So, Grandma, what are they? Well, it's your father who really teach me about them, you know, from way back in 1979. And me embrace them like me was at UA too. I use them to guide all of my affairs. Your father come out of university with honors. And I am telling you, it's because of them core values. So you will have to do the very same. I guess you don't even know. That is 5 of them. Integrity, excellence, gender justice, diversity, and student centeredness. If you know them and practice them, and they become part of your daily living, them will help you to be honest and maintain strong moral principles. Oh, I see. That is integrity. Then will make you outstanding and extremely good in whatever at all you do. But that's excellence, man. You will treat people equally in spite of them gender. That is, man and woman will have equal power, opportunity, and access to everything that is good. Oh, so that must be gender justice. So you will never, ever hear a Yui palm student pass or present bawling out, "We want justice!" unless you have something to do that is not gender related. Them help you not to discriminate. You accept and work with people in spite of them color, race, creed, social background, religion, age, sex, physical, mental, or marital status, or even if them think the other way. Everybody is welcome. So you could say them open to changes, ideas, and perspectives. Wow, Grandma, I didn't know you knew all of these things. As I said, is your father teach me these things when he was at UWI. No, the final one is that you will put them student in the middle of them teaching, learning, and study environment. So all of them daily operations, the policies, the governance, all of them things is geared towards the student's success as lifelong learners. My, that is definitely diversity. You learn fast, man. You're learning fast. No, because of them core values. Your father got on well with everybody. Very well with tutors, professors, principals, students, ancillary workers, security, admin people, health workers, even the very janitors. Him show respect. You're hearing what me say, little girl? Him show respect to everyone. Him listen to them and him learn from everyone. Him strive for excellence in everything he do. And nobody can take with that from him even to today. So you, Miss Cherise, you make sure you follow in your father footsteps, footsteps. You with core values, you with core values. But grandma, is the open campus I going? Same difference. It name you with. Embrace and live by them core values anywhere you are. Home, work, school, church, play, anywhere. If you're on campus or you're in the virtual campus, do the same. You will be an honor roll student and an employee or employer par excellence. Okay, grandma, I going to do a realigning of them and do a one line dub to help me to remember all of them. Anything that you want to do, you make sure you know them and follow them. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, UE Open Campus Change Management Culture. Mm, 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 mm. Them student centered, have integrity, embrace excellence, embrace excellence, respect diversity, and live gender justice, live gender justice, science, them science. SC, student centeredness. I, integrity. E, excellence. D, diversity. GJ, gender justice. GJ, gender justice. Well, I like it. You will do well in the University of the West Indies Open Campus. You practice them core values and embrace them, and you will be one of the change agents that change the culture. Aye. Them sage. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Brown. We can always expect an inspiring and entertaining piece of literature from you. And I'm happy that Granny was able to school young Cherise on what the UE core values truly represent. Our next speaker is one of Open Campus's human resources officers. She is HRO responsible for recruitment and staff development, Miss Aisha Eswit. She cherishes time spent interacting with employees at all levels of the organization. From these interactions, she's able to make recommendations to senior leaders and stakeholders for the improvement of systems and processes. She views her role with great pride and and says it provides her with the opportunity to strengthen employee relationships while contributing to the achievement of the organizational objectives. Let us welcome Ms. Esley.
Thank you so much, Cherise. A wonderful evening to everyone. I am having a wonderful time here, already enjoying the entertainment and the speeches and just loving every moment. Greetings to our principal, our deputy principal, lead culture steward, the committee members, our students who are out there studying so hard, the family and the friends viewing this session. I am so pleased to join you for the launch of this Culture Stories Committee as a representative of the Human Resource Department and as a representative of staff. As Cherise said, I'm Human Resource Officer responsible for recruitment. And during our onboarding sessions, I often stop to talk about the culture of the open campus. I talk about how we love to work around the clock and we're always online. I talk about how we're always studying and pushing ourselves as we appreciate higher education and continuous learning. I talk that we love technology and we will leverage whatever is out there so that we can communicate with each other. We will have our WhatsApp groups, we'll be on Skype, we'll chat, we'll use whatever we can to talk with each other. And how we love to use acronyms and we never explain to anyone what they mean. In fact, soon, instead of saying the Culture Steward Committee, we will just say the CSC and we will never explain to anyone new what that means. This is all part of the open campus culture. And soon I'll be sharing stories about the Culture Steward Committee and the great work that you are undertaking with our new members of staff. As a representative of the HR department, I wish to convey that we're excited to provide encouragement, backing, and operational assistance to the Culture Steward Committee. We firmly believe that in helping others to understand our organization's culture, we will provide a sense of identity, arouse commitment to the organization's mission, and clarify the standards of behavior we wish to promote. Furthermore, the Culture Steward Committee represents a proactive step by our campus towards achieving the university's strategic goals in the areas of access, alignment, and agility. We see the launch of the committee as a significant achievement under the strategic objective of fostering a CAMP team. Now that acronym means creative, caring, accountable, motivated, and professional. We are sure that the activities of the HR department and the Culture Steward Committee will complement each other and serve as a beacon of the great things that are taking place at the open campus. The HR department is also committed to working in partnership on identified initiatives, sharing of resources, and collaboration on training activities. We're also ready to be there as a friend, cheering from the side, supporting consistency, openness, and growth. As a representative of staff, I wish to highlight that this initiative must be owned by each member of staff. We must lean in and buy in. When we buy in, we show that we believe in the work to be done. We must be engaged, as engagement leads to involvement, participation, and impactful contribution. I personally stand ready to chart a path with you, ready to assist with coordination of outreach activities, ready to provide any feedback needed, and ready to share my own views on the open campus culture. Finally, as both a member of staff and a member of the HR team, I want to wish the committee great success. This virtual launch is the beginning of amazing things, and I encourage you to showcase your progress regularly, using various channels of communication to take us on an exploration of the beauty and uniqueness of open campus culture. By exploring our past together, we will create a solid foundation for the future. So I thank you so much for bringing greetings on behalf of the Human Resource Department and my own personal wishes for your success as a member of staff. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Eswick, for those remarks. Mrs. Alicia Walters Archie is an Assistant Registrar of Student Support and Services of the UWI Open Campus. She states that she enjoys working with students and cares about their success. She loves to interact with students and feels a great sense of accomplishment when she assists them to resolve a problem. Everyone, Mrs. Alicia Walters Archie.
Thank you very much. Dr. Luz Longsworth, Principal, UWI Open Campus, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Global Affairs, Dr. Francis Severin, Deputy Principal and Lead Culture Steward, specially invited guests, staff, and students, good evening. As you would have already heard, I am Alicia Walters Archie, and I am the Assistant Registrar for Student Support and Services at the UWI Open Campus. It is my great pleasure and honor to bring remarks to you this evening at this virtual launch of the Culture Stewards Committee for the UWI Open Campus. The Culture Stewards Committee of the Open Campus has embraced the UWI core values of integrity, excellence, gender justice, diversity, student-centeredness, and as such, we're making significant strides to better serve our communities. Our dedicated leadership team, as well as academic, professional, and administrative staff of the Open Campus, are committed to supporting our students to guarantee their success. We have seen an increase in our online degree program offerings, as well as combined efforts to embed competency-based education in our curriculum so that the skills that our graduates leave with, having completed their programs, are aligned with the demands of the job markets across the region. Increased program offerings have been developed and introduced to satisfy the expectations of our communities. Students now have the opportunity to access a suite of programs from associate degree to doctoral degrees. The Open Campus is committed to creating an environment focused on providing students with a positive experience. And to do so, we know that it is necessary to improve the culture of the institution. The registry in the Open Campus has adopted an approach to foster an environment that will allow greater collaboration and seamless integration among functional units within departments for all of our processes. this is expected to eliminate redundancies and bottlenecks through our intent to operate as a cohesive unit, thereby enhancing the student experience. Organizational silos are the biggest barriers to enhancing and improving customer experience, and this is no different in the higher education landscape. Recognizing this, the Open Campus has been making progress to improve relationships through collaboration. Collaboration in the workplace allows individuals to work together and ensure a higher success rate of achieving a common goal. With the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, I believe we have made and continue to make improvements to the culture of the Open Campus to enhance the student experience and ensure that the UWI core values are incorporated into the campus processes. All divisions in the Open Campus will continue to work together and to map out a realistic plan on how each department can ensure that students have positive experiences every day. In our online programs, we have to ensure that students' experiences with technology, as well as their interaction with faculty and administration, are key to their feeling positive about their experience. The UWI core values of integrity, excellence, gender justice, diversity, and student-centeredness are critical to the Open Campus culture. Once leaders determine each person's role in providing students with a positive experience, then support strategies should be incorporated in our operational structure so it becomes a clearly defined metric that everyone works toward. In time, providing all students with a positive experience on every encounter will be a part of the culture of the Open Campus. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Walters Archie, for that insight into what the Student Support Services have in mind regarding this initiative. Our next performance is by Justin Castillo. He is a rhythm and blues artist from the country of Belize. His journey of music began from high school, and he has steadily progressed throughout the music and entertainment scene within the Belizean community. Ladies and gentlemen, we give you J Cass. Sit back and enjoy.
Hello, everyone. Here's a little song I wrote, and I'm gonna sing it note for note, so don't worry. Be happy. In every life we have some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double, so don't worry. Be happy. Oh, no, no, oh, 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 no, oh, oh. Ah, no, no, oh, oh. No, no, Don't worry about a thing. Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. I say you don't worry about a thing. Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. I rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds, they check my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. I say you don't worry about a thing, cause every little thing is gonna be alright. I say you don't worry about a thing, cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Thank you.
That was indeed a serenading performance by J. Cass of Belize. Next, we have Mr. Leon Dawson. He won't be giving us a performance, but he is a 25-year-old undergraduate student at the University of the West Indies Open Campus. At the Open Campus, he is pursuing an undergraduate degree in political science with a minor in economics. Mr. Dawson is the 2020-2021 Open Campus Regional Guild President and also the third term serving chapter chairman of the Belize Guild of Students. He served as the 2019-2020 Guild Vice President for Administration, Sites and Services, and the 2018 to 2019 UWI Open Campus Guild Communications and Public Relations Officer. We welcome him tonight to speak on his outlook of the Culture Initiative and the Student Guild Body. Mr. Dawson?
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction, Ms. Gentle. Cordial good evening, TBC Loungewear, Deputy Principal Francis Severin, members of the Culture Steward Committee, our speakers, our two lovely hosts, our performers, and of course, you, the viewers, near and far. It is quite an honor for me to be here in my final week as the 2020-2021 Guild President. And I am also elated to be a speaker at this historic launch of the Deputy Principal Culture Steward Initiative. I am elated because culture, while being one of the fundamentals of a strong and cohesive organization, has not been commonly discussed at my Guild Council meeting and even at the Intercampus Guild Council meeting. When Dr. Severin passionately presented the Culture Steward proposal to us, the Guild, it dawned on me then that among our students, we do not have that strong open campus culture. And the main basis for this, of course, is the fact that we are in the online environment, and fostering such a culture can be very difficult at times, and it will be a difficult task ahead of the committee. However, it is a necessity. It is needed for the success of our students, which will have a rippling effect to the success of the campus adjunct staff, the campus administration, and all the way up to the leadership of the campus and the university. A strong and positive open campus culture will affect how our students work together in various programs. I have worked in many culturally diverse groups, and we've had our challenges. However, if all of us are culture champions of the open campus, these challenges will be mitigated as we embody the core values of the university. The fostering of the open campus culture will also allow our students to be more active students, active learners, more professional students, and will lead to a higher level of student satisfaction. A positive open campus culture will also play a key role as the campus transitions to the global campus, as a student population that is unified under a strong campus culture will no doubt be a marketing tool for the global campus to attract the international students. The Guild has witnessed firsthand the difficulty in keeping open campus students engaged and active. We have also noticed that students who are more engaged and active and have a sense of campus unity and belonging are students who communicate well with peers, their course instructors, the administration. These are also students who are more patient and understanding, as well as students who are more willing to give back to the campus and the university. So we see the need, we see the importance, and we also see the potential benefits of improving the open campus culture. And for these reasons, the Guild will ensure that we work closely with the Culture Steward Committee so that we can be that one body of open campus culture champions. Like I said before, it won't be an easy task, but as the Guild motto says, together we can make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Nothing compares to hearing directly from the student body, especially with something so important regarding this culture change initiative. We want to thank our audience once again who are viewing via YouTube and Facebook, and we hope that you're enjoying tonight's presentation thus far. We still have more to come, so stay tuned and keep active to your monitors and to your screens. We will now move on to our final speaker for the night, Ms. Elizabeth Buchanan-Hine. She is the Executive Director of the Institutional Advancement Division in the Office of the Vice Chancellor, who is responsible for the university advancement, alumni relations, development, and event planning. She's also founder and chair of the UWI Toronto Benefit Gala, Executive Director of the Rex Nettleford Foundation, Board of Directors of the American Foundation of UWI, and the Hope Institute. Ms. Buchanan-Hine.
Hosts Cherise Glasgow and Renisha Gentle, Pro Vice Chancellor and Principal Luz Longsworth and Deputy Principal Francis Severin, my fellow presenters, distinguished guests. It is such a pleasure for me to be here with you for the UWI Open Campus Culture Stewards launch. I have to say that I'm extremely excited by this initiative. For those who don't know, the primary mission of the Institutional Advancement Division, otherwise known as IAD, is to promote the University of the West Indies as an institution of higher education with leadership in areas critical to the Caribbean, to generate philanthropic gifts for the university, and to encourage alumni to view the institution as a lifelong partner for growth and development. I'm going to repeat the latter part of our mission. We are charged with encouraging alumni to view the institution as a lifelong partner for growth and development. Now, many of you who are familiar with the IAD know that we invest a lot of time in developing programs which include students. And why, one may ask, given that our main responsibility is to work with alumni? There are many people who think that alumni development begins when a student graduates from an institution. Contrary to that thought, alumni development begins before the student arrives at the institution. This in itself sounds absurd. How can you develop a relationship with someone who does not yet exist? In order to have a robust, vibrant, and productive alumni association, student-centeredness has to be at the heart of the institution. Otherwise, there is no platform or base on which to build, nurture, and grow positive experiences for the student. In the same way that soil has to be cultivated and prepped with nutrients to assist in yielding a healthy crop, the only way to have alumni who will view the university as a lifelong partner is to create the environment before the student arrives, which will provide them amazing student life experiences that will inculcate in them love and respect for their alma mater. All the values which were spoken of today, integrity, excellence, gender justice, diversity, inclusion, respect, are the ingredients necessary to create the alumni association we desire. The process of nurturing these relationships begin with each and every one of us and how we conduct ourselves and our business at the university, how we relate to each other as colleagues, and how we relate to the students. None being more important than the other, all being part of a whole. The University of the West Indies has the most amazing graduates who are leaders in their respective fields throughout the world. Who we have today as students are the future leaders of the private and public sector. Let us nurture our relationships with them while they are in our care. The investment is mutually beneficial. Remember, students today are our alumni tomorrow. The Institutional Advancement Division is committed to providing the support wherever, whenever, and however needed by the open campus to ensure the success of this initiative. It is a win-win for everyone, and we are delighted to be with you on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Buchanan-Hind. We now invite Dr. Severin back to officially introduce the Culture Stewards Committee to each and every one of you. Dr. Severin?
Thank you very much, Ms. Gentle. Thank you very much. Again, this night has really, once again, if that was possible, far exceeded my expectations. And I want to thank Elizabeth, my friend, for the words which I heard from her. So, colleagues, I have the distinct and special pleasure of introducing you to a marvelous and wonderful team of people, of colleagues, of staff and students, Culture Stewards.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Culture Steward Committee for the University of the West Indies Open Campus. As things come to an end, we invite Mrs. Colleen Robinson Hunt, a fellow Culture Steward herself, who will be giving us the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Renisha. Principal, Deputy Principal, Senior Leadership Team, members of the Culture Committee, guest speakers and audience, good evening. It is an honour to have been asked to give the vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion of the launch of the University of the West Indies Open Campus Culture Steward Initiative. On behalf of the Culture Stewards Committee and the entire Open Campus, I offer a very hearty gratitude to all the speakers for sharing their informative words with us. Ms. Marguerite Orain for her insights on organisational culture, advising on ensuring that we know what our culture is and that it will take time to change a culture, but never as long as we think. And to recap on her 3 tips for effective culture stewardship. Number 1, lovingly have each other's back and feed forward. 2, patience with ourselves and our colleagues. And 3, know that changing the culture will be worth it. Ms. Aisha Eswick for her overview of the university's Human Resource Department and some of the back office functions that takes place to help keep the university's wheels turning and how the Human Resource Department will support the Culture Steward Committee. Mrs. Alicia Waters Archie with her information on the role of student support services and how it will feed into the Culture Steward Initiative. Mr. Leon Dawson, who showed his support of the initiative on behalf of the Student Guild and how an effective and positive culture will benefit our students. And Mrs. Elizabeth Buchanan-Hind, who highlighted the importance of building a positive relationship with students before they begin the university, as well as during, and thus developing a strong and engaged alumni. Thank you also to our entertainment guests who provided wonderful intermissions throughout the evening. Jean Brown with her splendiferous skit, which I'm sure has left the UE core values permanently etched on our minds, and Jay Cass with his beautiful musical rendition. All of this would not have been possible if it were not for our superb technical team working arduously behind the scenes. In addition, thank you to UETV and Mr. Charlton Alley, who created the presentation that you just saw introducing the Culture Stewards Committee. A special thank you specifically to the Culture Stewards Launch Committee members who planned and worked exceptionally hard in organising tonight's event. Mrs. Janella Samuel Austin, Miss Manisha Gentle, Miss Cherise Glasgow, myself, Colleen Robinson Hunt, and Mrs. Cecile Johnson. Thank you to all of our culture stewards who will be giving their time, effort, and dedication to this new initiative. The volunteering of their time underscores the commitment to the open campus. It has been our pleasure to introduce such an innovative and entrepreneurial concept that will continue to propel the University of the West Indies forward in our mission to maintain the position as the #1 university in the Caribbean. And I'll say that again, #1 university in the Caribbean. The Culture Steward Initiative will have a positive impact on customer service, student and staff well-being, as well as the open campus social atmosphere. This is particularly important as we prepare ourselves to become a global university. Lastly, but absolutely not least, a big thank you to you, our audience, for taking the time out this evening to tune in and support this launch of an amazing initiative. Thank you all once again and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Colleen. That was brilliant. We want to thank our audience once again who joined us tonight via social media for taking the time out of their schedule to spend this momentous occasion with us. I am your co-host, Cherise Glasgow, and my co-host, Renisha Gentle. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.